because you talked about the past and the future, the mindset mastery, learning how to use your breath work, how to use your mind, how to calm it, how to quiet it, either through reading, journaling, prayer, meditation, how to change the brain waves so that you can access your peace, your lowered blood pressure, your slowed down heart rate, that you know that you are the driver of your physiology. That helps you be absolutely rooted in the present moment. So there are times where it's beneficial to look back and look forward so that you can really be here now. That's the ultimate goal, is to really enjoy the right now, because that's the only thing we're guaranteed to have. And it's the only thing that we're in power to control. When I say we create our lives, we are creating our future. But where are we creating it? We're creating it in the now. It's with our thoughts and our energy and our actions now. So every single thing you said is just another confirmation of joy for what we're about to do together, because these are my favorite conversations. Let's just have them with more people all the time, everywhere.
There are moments when the algorithm spits you a voice that sounds helpful. And then there are people like Joanna Rajendran, not a brand, not a persona, a practitioner who trained for 26 years under a global master, the same Tao Porchon Lynch, who marched with Gandhi, taught Deepak, and lived long enough to outlast trends she never needed. Joanna isn't here to sell you affirmations that don't actually work in the clutch, that leave you feeling like you just didn't do it right. She's here to teach you how to drive your life on purpose. Today's conversation goes deep from trauma-informed nervous system resets to toxic positivity, spiritual bypass, and the way real mindset work can actually transform how you live, lead, and love. We recorded this just after the catastrophic flooding here in Kerr County. As many of you know, I am based in Kerrville, Texas, and we just went through some devastating flooding and a significant loss of life here. This interview was raw, it was real, and we didn't hold anything back. We are excited to share it with you. And one of the reasons I'm back with a new episode after taking about 2 weeks off is that Joanna's one of my mentors and one of my very best friends whom I've known for a very long time. And she's the person who said to me, we've got to keep living when these things happen. And friend, as one of my listeners, we are also offering you a special subscriber surprise on Joanna's latest 12-week coaching course based on her brand new book, Best Life Ever. And this latest course just dropped and is open for enrollment right now. The first class begins August 6th and spots are already limited. You will get a good hour or so a week with live coaching for 12 weeks with Joanna. This course is typically offered for $1,995, but if you're one of my listeners and you run over to sign up right away, you will get this 12-week live coaching course for $1,500. That's a $500 savings to get coached by the incredible Joanna Rajendran in person for 12 weeks. So if you're one of my listeners and you're interested in grabbing a spot right away, and there's not many left, just go to charliehornesscoaching.com/Joanna to grab your spot. That's charliehornesscoaching.com/Joanna, Joanna. So if you're ever wondering where to find the line between inspirational and impactful, or how to tell the difference between a coach who learned from YouTube and one who lived it in real time, then this episode will show you. Let's go. I'm Dr. Charlie Horness. I'm a doctorate level, clinically trained and certified spiritual counselor and a master certified thoughtwork strategist. I work with high functioning women who are tired of saying, I'm fine, when they know they're not. If you're exhausted from being the one who's holding it all together, while quietly falling apart. This show is for you. Welcome to the Art of Managing Your Brain. Let's go. Hey, friend, welcome to the Art of Managing Your Brain podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Charlie Hornes. I am a board-certified clinical strategist and licensed spiritual counseling provider. I'm an executive systems advisor and doctorate-level expert in leadership breakdown and institutional repair. Today, you are about to meet the woman I trust most to speak on mindset. And if you saw our first episode last summer, you will know who I'm talking about. She's not about hype, not hacks, not hustle porn masquerading as purpose. Joanna Rajendran is a keynote speaker, a master level mindset mentor, and author of 2 books that actually make you think. My Guru Wears Heels and her very latest book that she is right in the middle of a whirlwind book tour, Best Life Ever. She's not here to sell you a 5-step formula. She's here to remind you that peace is trainable, that clarity is your birthright, and that if you've been reacting to life instead of creating it, you're not bananas, you're out of practice. She's coached inside Fortune-ranked companies. She's shared stages with Tony Robbins. She's taught rooms full of skeptics how to breathe again and mean it. And today, she's here with me. She's one of my oldest friends. I've known her for decades, and I am so excited to welcome back my dear friend, Joanna Rajendran, after being gone for a year to celebrate her second book, Best Life Ever. So let's get into it. All right. Welcome, Joanna. I am so excited to have you back. And there's a couple things going on. Number one, we just celebrated our year anniversary last week, and I didn't have an episode because of what's been going on locally here in Kerr County, but you were here with me almost at the very beginning for your first book. And now you have your second book, and we'll get into a whole bunch of other stuff. But I want to start off with your new book, Best Life Ever, because I've read it and I think it is a fantastic book. It is well structured. Every chapter has actual action plans, exercises, and you explain everything. You say what it is, say it, and then say what you said. And it is clear. And so can you talk a little bit about your book? No spoilers, but give us a rundown.
Absolutely. But that's not first thing. First thing is 1 year. Congratulations.
Totally.
See,
yeah, it's exciting.
For people who weren't around for our first chat, Charlie and I met years and years ago, and we worked together at nightclubs in New York City. And so to have this full circle, amazing experience where we got to be together in the beginning of our adult and professional seasons of lives. And all of the foreshadowing was there of what would eventually happen and who we would become, because the seeds were already planted. The strength, the confidence, the commonalities, the differences, there are so many ties that bind between the two of us as people, and now with the work we do. But what I love so much about it, and what we keep joking about when I said, you're like the minister and I'm the mentor. And I'm like, the minister and the mentor. What an amazing metaphor that is for life, because there's so many paths to that which we're seeking. And it's usually some version of peace, power, passion, purpose. When you measure happiness, when you measure satisfaction, it's usually 2 things. The feeling that we're making progress, not perfect, that we're making progress, and the difference in what we perceive to be the gap of how our life is and how we think it should be. So those places to play. I love that you and I work with people to get that result, even though our methods may be different. The commonalities are there, and it's so the same as to who we are as people and who we are now as professionals. And I lied because I said then we could get into the book. But second, I want to acknowledge and thank you on behalf of your entire community, because as your friend, I know how much sleep you lost, how much love you've given how much when you say thoughts and prayers, it's not a statement. It's that you're actually spending your time, your energy, your love, thinking about the people in need, praying for them, praying with them, and being with them. So you're an angel. You're amazing. You're using your powers for good, and you're doing really important work right now.
Thank you. Yeah. We could take a hot second to just kind of do an update. We are out of the emergency phase. For those that don't know, I do live in Kerr County, Kerrville, Texas, where we just experienced for the 4th of July, catastrophic flooding here in a way that no one could have predicted. And it has just been absolutely total destruction. Really hard stuff, really serious stuff happening here. But, everyone's come together. It's an amazing witness to see how people can just band together and protect their community, support their community. There was some really awful loss. And I did have the honor and privilege of standing in the gap before we had state services on the ground as a clinically trained board certified chaplain and spiritual care provider. And the reason that's so important is because every single person I talk to, regardless of levels of faith or denomination or atheist or agnostic, shared a level of anger at some higher power. Call it God if that's comfortable for, our listeners. But so protecting people from additional spiritual trauma and spiritual harm is very important because, as the platitudes in trauma and tragedy are unbelievably saturated. All of the, this awful thing happened because it's God's will. I can't tell you how many times in the hospital I have somebody say something like that and, get shoved out of a room, get punched.
Yeah.
And so I feel that as I stood in the gap on the 4th, we protected every single family member, as far as I know, that was missing one of the girls. Most, if not all, I really do believe were lost, did not hear any of that bullshit. And if that was my contribution, I'm grateful to have done that for the 3 days. And I know as a person of spiritual faith, as you are, I know that you get what that means. And so it means a lot for you to bring that up. Thank you. As far as I know, we have everything to capacity to the point where we don't have storage for donations, like physical donations and food and stuff. The donations are going through Kerr County. And so I can drop that link. Monetary donations are really what everybody needs. They're getting it on the ground immediately. You can go to the website and see where everything is going as well. That's just the best way to help. And then the last thing I'll say is watch what you're sharing. Fact check everything. We have had some really, really horrible stuff being shared, being told about, fake stories. So I just really encourage people to do what I teach, use your thinking brain. And I'm excited for Joanna to talk about some stuff around mindset and trauma. But now let's get back to your book.
Talk about the book.
I realized I should do an update. So thank you for that.
You said use your thinking brain. And this is so indicative of us and our two paths to the same place. Because I'm like, use your guiding heart. And you're like, use your thinking brain. When we had hurricanes on the beach where I live a few years ago, some of the devastation was such that the back of the homes could be completely open like a dollhouse, where you could see someone's pool fall in the ocean. You could see half of their bed hanging from a room that was cut in half. Yeah. And my family and I walk and ride the beach every day. And when it was safe enough to start walking again, you would see people like it was a tourist attraction, taking all these photos of somebody's home. And I said, this is someone's life. And it could have been their entire livelihood. They've been building this home as the backdrop for their memories. And you're here because you think it's an interesting story. So be mindful that every story you read, every post you see, there's a life and then all the lives around that life that are impacted. So tread lightly, be mindful. There are hearts and loves and humans behind every story. I can't say every post because we know a lot of those are bots too, but behind the stories. Right. And now I will finally listen to you and circle back to the book. Thank you for your kind words about it. It's cool to say now because I used to have like the book I wrote on a shelf. Now I could say I have books I wrote on a shelf, which is fine. So this one is different. For those of you who may not have ever heard or been around the first rodeo, the first book I wrote was called My Guru Wears Heels. And that was about my friendship with the world's oldest yoga teacher and all of the crazy, amazing lessons learned in my time with her. I spent over 2 decades studying under and learning from her about how to guide meditation and mindfulness and breath work, how to teach yoga. She was the world's oldest yoga teacher. She lived until she was 101, and she was really magical. But I knew if I wrote the story just about her, you'd walk away and say, wow, that woman was magic. And she was. But I wrote the story with each chapter starting with one of her quotes and philosophies. Then it would travel back and forth between our timelines and tell both of our stories. And the reason wasn't to make it a vanity project, because trust me, it could get a little weird and sometimes embarrassing when you meet someone for the first time and they've already read your entire life story because you wrote it for them to read. So when that happens, if I meet someone for the first time and they so kindly say like, I read your book, I love your story. I'm like, okay, can I have your diary or at least give me the cliff notes of your entire life story so we have some common ground?
Exactly.
So that book, I like to say, is like Eat, Pray, Love and Tuesdays with Morrie Had a Baby. It will,
wow. I agree.
It reads like that. You could sit on the beach. You can read it on one plane ride. I had friends of mine that said, like, I have 6 kids. I haven't read a full book in 2 years, and I read yours on one plane. I was like, that's a huge compliment. If you have 6 kids and you're taking the time to read any book and it's mine, I'm forever honored. Now, this most recent book is a totally different expression of passion, equally obsessed. I felt like it was the biggest honor in life to have this relationship with my mentor, to be able to learn from her, take these tools, modernize them so that they're relevant to what we're experiencing today, and then being able to share them with the world. Light in the dark was that during COVID, I took this more off of the yoga mat, out of the yoga studios, and started doing more high performance coaching and small group coaching. And that course was called Best Life Ever. So the name of my book, Best Life Ever, is not very original, not very subtle, but I'm usually not very subtle. So when we're going for, I even talk about it because when you're really creating your life on purpose, fine, good, okay, you could get that. Most of us can get that by default, but that is going to be a very different lived experience than the best possible version of our life. What does that look like? It's different for all of us. So in this course that I started teaching during COVID, because everyone was virtual, teaching it virtually by necessity. But what I learned was it was a magical format for this. This offering is 12 weeks, about an hour a week, and it's on Zoom, Wednesday evenings. Why is that important? Because the course is available for men and women, although we tend to have more females than males that do it. I like that it's at the end of the night when they've already done the things they need to do and they commit to giving themselves this 1 hour as their own time every week. If they can't make it that week, it is recorded and lives for a week. But what was magic? If you've ever had an experience like a retreat or a wellness weekend and you feel amazing and you're like, I could be vegan and wear only organic threads and walk through fields of flowers all day. This is the new me. It might be easy to say when you have this like amazing programming and massages and vegan chefs at the retreat. What happens when you get home and you have a flat tire and shit gets real?
Yep.
What I loved about this course was we would gather once a week, and then the next 7 days we would spend working on the same action step together. There were very small, practical, actionable things that we were doing, but we were playing with them within the context of our real life, our real relationships, and our real workplaces. So the shifts that people were experiencing were real, they were authentic, and they were immediate. I was watching their transformations happen in real time, and it felt like the biggest honor ever. I would have busy moms that were homeschooling, working from home, and trying to figure out all the things at once. One of them said, I felt like a dying robot and I hadn't come up for air. And I think I just had my first good breath and my first deep sleep that I've had in 7 years.
Yeah. Wow.
I've had other people manifest careers of their dreams. love they've dreamt of, divorces they've needed in a healthy, productive way, how to navigate losing someone they love, how to heal from hurts. One woman said to me, my mom just said, I love you to me for the first time, 16 years. And it wasn't because she's different. It's because with these tools I've learned, I've become different in our relationship. Now she's responding to me differently as a result.
Wow.
So this is the no bullshit formula for stopping responding to life. Like you're in the matrix and you're just dodging one bullet after another coming at you. This is creating it on purpose. Like you erase the canvas and you decide what's going on there, what it looks like, what the colors are, what the medium is, and how you're placing it. So it is such an empowering thing to either learn or be reminded of that we are the ultimate creators because we're part of all of the life force that created us.
Okay, I want to back up really quickly, Joe. You said fine, okay, good. Can you unpack what you mean? Because I know that's in the book, and that's like one of the big things I wrote down that was so simple and yet not at all easy.
I love that you pulled out that example because I get a lot of questions when somebody feels like they're curious about the course. It's usually these fact-finding questions like, well, what do I have to do? How much time is it going to take? Because I'm already so overwhelmed, but I feel like I need something. So it's that last sentence that lets you know something's like missing off. It's a desire. And it might not feel like anything's wrong in your life. It just might feel like there's a larger capacity than you're tapping into.
Mm-hmm.
You spend your day reacting and not creating. At the end of the day, you might feel a little more fatigued than satisfied. If you spend the same energetic output doing that which you love, you could be exhausted at the end of the day with a lot more satisfaction. So when we just talked about the concept of really simple, actionable steps that create huge, immediate results, you pulled out such an amazing example. You, because I know you love the chemistry and the science behind it for the neuroplasticity of the brains, we are not these hardwired machines. We are the programmers and the machine. We are all of it. We're the programmers, we're the software and the machine. So if you want something different, it takes starting there, rewiring. If you watch your words, and throughout the course, this is brought up again and again, and also in the book, don't be like kind of careful with your words. Be absolutely meticulous with your words. In my household, I have 2 kids, 13 and 7. If they drop an F-bomb, they're probably going to get away with it. As long as it's not mean, directed at someone in anger. If it's like well-placed and funny, I might like, Tosh, come on. But they know you cannot say HATE in this household because you can't say it without feeling it. And if you have this beautiful, lit up, amazing soul or something you don't like, why give it so much of your power by putting this venomous, energetically activating word about a category you don't like? So one of my daughter's friends was here about a week ago and she said, I H-word cauliflower. I said, if you don't like cauliflower, why give it your power? You can say, cauliflower is not my thing, and you've given it nothing of you. But if you say, I H-word cauliflower, look how much focus and intention you put behind it. So your words have the power to move you and affect your interactions. So if we take good, okay, and fine out of the equation, because if you didn't read that chapter and I said, Charlie, how are you today? What would your real answer be?
Overwhelmed, excited, sad, and grateful that you even asked me, like for real, because I also know you give a shit.
See, that's real. That is very different. If somebody said to you, passing you on the street or in a store, hey, how you doing today? And you're fine, thanks. How are you? You're well-mannered. You're polite. That exchange did nothing. It was a kind, banal nothing. So if you stop saying those default rote words that do nothing, then what happens in its place? When you see someone on the street and they say, how are you? You don't have that go-to answer. So you do a moment of pause and you actually ask yourself, how am I? How am I right now? I'm fucking amazing. And then that person, you just broke the pattern of what they're used to. So now maybe they pause and they answer you differently. And you've turned an everyday interaction into a micro connection. So action step, when we go through the subject of transformational vocabulary and the power of our words, our action step is to go a whole week without using good, fine, or okay. And it is such an exciting and awesome one Because when I do this course in corporate settings or for athletic teams or any community, imagine them doing this together. Imagine being a football team and you're like, hey, what's up? How you doing today? And they're like, amazing. Because they know that those 3 words, how was practice today? Interesting. Because when you don't have the default, it gives you the invitation to check in, gives you the invitation to be real. And always I'm asked the question, well, what if you're not freaking amazing? Then what's your answer? And you gave the perfect example of that. You said the feelings you had, you're excited, you're overwhelmed, you're grateful. It doesn't have to be amazing. It could be, I've had a total crap day. It was almost Murphy's Law day so far. You were the first person who really checked on me. So this could be the change. Thank you. How are you today? It doesn't have to be fake. That's where the toxic positivity bullshit comes from. You want it to be completely authentically you. But these are ways that with tiny shifts, we can transform the entire way we live and experience our lives because we're increasing connection and increasing satisfaction and getting less of the things that we don't need and no longer serve us.
Can you back up and talk to us about exactly what toxic positivity is from your perspective and your teaching?
I love Esther Hicks put this brilliantly when she said, when you're running out of gas, you can affirm that you have gas all you want. But if you put a smiley face sticker in your gas tank, it's not going to move your car. So there is a difference between people saying, no matter what, everything is awesome. There's a reason for everything. You will grow stronger from this. Nobody gets more than their capacity. We've all heard the euphemisms. We've all heard the regurgitated platitudes. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be sad. You know, we talked about this last week. The best teachers are forever students. The best coaches get coached. The best people need people. This is an exchange of energy always. We are always learning and growing. Somebody asked me recently, and my siblings say they get asked this all the time, is your sister really always that happy? And they're like, she's really exactly who you see her to be on social media. She's that dorky, that excited. Like, let's go have a dance party on the beach, and I'm not embarrassed to do cartwheels as a grown-up. All of that is true. I'm a human. I'm going to have days where I feel sad, insecure, regretful. And I have 2 things to say about that. If you're ready to shift, you have the power to shift. If you need to feel what you're feeling, and that's why it's coming up, but you don't like the way it feels. I had someone tell me years ago, set a timer, because she so wisely told me, you don't like being sad. So then you get sad about being sad. And then you're in this weird place and you don't like it. So you try to ignore it and skip it. But eventually that will find you. Instead, I invite you to feel completely in it. Lean in, feel the yuck, feel the darkness, feel the ugly, but set a timer for 5 minutes so that you know it has an ending. And so I've learned to do versions of that. If I feel sad, I did a whole episode on my podcast about grief, that no matter how spiritually prepared you are, no matter how faithfully you believe, there's no way around grief but through it. And that is real. So I did, without show notes, my partner and I just jumped on and did a whole episode of grief because I wanted it to be real. Authentic connection will fill your cup and the cup of others so much faster and more than this toxic positivity bullshit that tells you should be okay for no reason.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know Joanna, one of the reasons that I love having her on, and by the way, we have decided to start partnering on some projects we're really excited about. We're going to have a masterclass coming up very soon, probably launched on Facebook and maybe, dropped on LinkedIn, and you can find it on my channel as well. We have some courses in the works we're really excited about, and I'm just super glad to be, having this privilege and honor to do this work with you. But one of the main things that differs between us is you are an actual, authentic, real, genuine mindset coach. And I throw rocks at mindset reset bullshit all of the time. because so much of the stuff we hear out there that's being peddled, that's being sold, people are trying to make a ton of money as, life coaches with no experience, no training, a weekend certification of some nonsense. And they're honestly, quite frankly, dangerous. Many in an unfettered, unregulated field, that Brooke Castillo basically started 20 years ago. People have just taken off and done all kinds of weird stuff that's not she has a psychology degree, right? She teaches actual science and method as sort of the original life coach, if you will, studying with Byron Katie. But so much of this is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not what it's intended to be. It is not transformative as in paradigm shift like you and I talk about and we teach. We teach actual life-changing, evidence-based practices that will improve your life as a byproduct of doing work. It's not about the result and the outcome, yet the result and outcome, if you do the work, is guaranteed because it's that transformative. Can you talk about the difference between what I am telling you? You are a real, genuine, authentic mindset coach versus all of that bullshit out there that really is not good for people. Much of it is not good for people. Some of it is, but much of it is not.
The part that's good for them, they likely could find on most fortune cookies or any Pinterest wall if you put in spirituality. I love this question, and I love that we are examples of the answer. So your background, you come from ministry and science. My background's very different. It doesn't come from a religious base at all. And it came from the yoga and meditation world. I feel like my experience and credentials in doing this work come way more from feeling like an apprentice to a modern day sage than from a textbook. And here's the good news. There is no one size fits all for everyone. Right. And I love that you mentioned what we were going to do because Charlie and I realized how much fun do we have when we talk coming from two different worlds going to the same place. And I love that we can be an example for people that your path doesn't have to be the same. I assisted Tao, my teacher, at an ashram years ago where it had all the major religious symbols around this lotus flower. And it said, the paths are many, the truth is one. The truth, whether you call that love, God, connection, the universe, that feeling when you are so present in your breath, in the fact that you are a miracle in human form, that you are a part of it all, that you feel the love of your community, everyone around you, that feeling when we feel the highest vibration that we exist on, that feeling, we've all had it at least once to know that we like that. We want more of that. The way we approach it could be varied. Your approach is different than mine, which is why I love teaming up and celebrating those differences. So it finds a coach that has 25 degrees and letters next to their name and they feel drawn to them. And somebody else finds this medicine woman in the jungles of Peru and they don't know why, but she has this light and they need to be with her. They're all valid. The way you know if it's legit is way less resume based, way more, how do you feel around them? When they share their light with you, do you receive it? Do you feel it as energy? Or does it just feel like a regurgitated fortune cookie that you could have seen anywhere? Your feeling will tell you everything. Don't discount that. Because your feeling told you this is real, this is true, you got everything you needed to in that one interaction.
Absolutely. We were talking earlier, and I want to reiterate this because I've thought a little more about this. It's very interesting because ministry and religion is also an entirely unregulated field. Anybody can wake up and identify themselves as ordained, right? And chaplaincy is even worse because to be a board certified clinical chaplain, I have an additional 5 years of postgraduate training and, clinical supervised hours and experience and, trauma, ER, cancer wards, ICU, all of it. I did a lot of PD, ER, ICU, and then I did for a while PD and perinatal palliative. And then I was, in the ICU for all of COVID. I got pulled and did palliative for adults in COVID. And yet anybody can wake up and put a sticker on them. And I saw this, 2 weeks ago during the initial flood on the 4th. There were so many people with these like stickers that said chaplain. And I was like, bro, get out. You have no training. And I would ask them and they were like, yeah, I'm just a volunteer. I'm like, are you ready to have a parent scream in your face? Are you ready for that? And to provide care anyway? Like, there's a level of training that does not cause harm. And when you have a level of training that is ethics based, just like, medicine, we too do not cause harm to people. We too meet people where they are, not evangelize, convert, find, people as right pickings in trauma, which many people do, or do we say stupid platitudes that make people feel terrible about themselves? I say all that to say the connection is the framework. You have all these different religions, denominations, and it's like, this is the formula. You need to follow it. And I have an episode with my buddy Christine, who talks about formulaic religion. And when you have bad things happen, you just didn't follow the formula right.
Which makes you feel like you are at fault for the hard.
Yes. There's an onus put on the person once bad things happen because they say, well, you just didn't follow the formula. And I see a lot of this happening to connect it back to mindset coaching, like this mindset reset coaching. Again, another entirely unregulated field. If you have bad stuff happen, and then the coach can just say, well, you didn't follow my framework properly, which puts the onus back on the person and causes them a double violence, because there's a violence that they've come to get help for in some level. A lot of it is pretty significant stuff that you deal with, that I deal with in private coaching. And then the second violence is being blamed for not getting it right, which is bullshit. That's not what this.
Or like it's a compliment. Like, you've been given so much because they know you're strong enough to carry it.
Like vomit.
Like, you're so capable. So here's some tragedy I'm going to lump on you.
Yeah. It's the same thing as the whole God's will thing. It's like, I've had people yell, what kind of God would cause fill in the blank tragedy? And their question is valid. And we're not here to tell them. Again, this is totally the story of Job and his friends who blame Job because either God is good, powerful, or you deserved it. And most people choose you deserved it because it doesn't jive with their theology of God is powerful and good, whatever that God is for you, right?
Because then it makes them feel like they have some semblance of control to keep the hard away from themselves.
Exactly. It's fully selfish and self-centered. And I think that there's this like self-righteousness out there that lets people feel good about themselves as a coach because they have all these answers.
Right.
And we're not here to give answers. We're here to outwardly process with people that connect with us so that those people can find their answers for themselves, right? I mean, yeah, you and I both have lots of coaching structures and frameworks and courses, et cetera, et cetera. But in real one-on-one coaching, I say all of this to say, that's why I want you here, and I'll shut up so you can talk, because, and that's why I'm like laying a significant foundation right now. That's not you. And I want people to see the difference between all of that bullshit and a legitimate person who creates transformation through actual mindset work.
I appreciate what you said. And this is an example of my personal journey of growth. I'm going to say thank you, period. We talk about this in the course, and I actually mention it in the book too. We've been so conditioned and trained to diminish our magic and to qualify our compliments. How often does someone say like, oh, I like that shirt? And you're like, oh, I've had it forever. Or it was $10 on Amazon, instead of just thank you, period. Or I loved your book. Thank you. Like a lot of people contributed. All of that could be true. Or we could just learn how to say thank you, period. Because otherwise, not only are we diminishing our own light, we're taking away the moment that the other person is so genuinely sharing their experience from their heart, trying to give that compliment. So I have learned the beautiful art of thank you, period. And in this, Here's a question. This is whether someone listening is in the coaching world or has been exposed to it. Would you or they continue to do what you're doing or they're doing if it was for absolute free and if nobody was watching? If what you are doing is just an extension of who you are being, it's always going to be authentic. I've never coached somebody who asked me after, like, do you really believe in this stuff? Because whether you've been my best friend for 5 minutes or for 5 decades, you know that what I coach is how I live. How I live is what I coach. When there isn't a disconnect between that, you feel it and it rings true. It feels authentic. So my commitment when I wrote the book, Best Life Ever, was to give someone the tool that if they didn't know me, they didn't have access, they didn't have time, they didn't have money to take the course. You can't really recreate the interactive dynamic of small group coaching when it is live and I'm leading it personally, but I could try. So I did the book in a workbook form so that if someone took the course and they wanted a refresher or they're ready to manifest something new and they need to do it again, they can just refer to that one chapter or do the whole thing like a workbook again. If someone never met me and had no means to get to me ever, they still have the tools to start preparing their toolbox. So an interesting version, and I love that it's now a workbook because it's inspiring different kinds of conversations. It launched in March and we had this amazing press tour, went home to New York and was on Good Day New York. And there was my publicity, my PR company. They were so amazing and they surprised me with a Times Square billboard of the new book. So it was this amazing experience being on a lot of different television shows and podcasts and being able to talk about this was incredible. I couldn't wait any longer to get back to the actual nitty gritty, the connection, the moments with people. That's the stuff that I love and live for. So since the book launched, I've been getting messages from different groups of people who did the book together as a staff, as colleagues, as a family, as a group of women book clubbing it. I had new college graduates do it together to bridge the gap of weirdness for what's next. And now what I'm doing personally, I'm about to lead a local series for mothers and teens and preteens, a mother-daughter workshop where we do a chapter of the book together and meet in person, do some breath work, and just have an open table discussion, not led like the course, because I want my own daughter to benefit too. So I need the space for other people to talk. And that was my real dream, that this would just be the starter kit, that people use it as a guide, and then it inspires a different ripple of conversation, of possibility, of sharing tools, because it might sound like a cheesy beauty contest answer to say, like, my dream is world peace. But if you dream of world peace, what that means is you have a world comprised of individuals who feel peaceful. So when you work on yourself, when you change your energetic state, that ripple, because you go out into the world and spread that with your kindness, with your connection, with your not saying good, okay, and fine, with really interacting with these other souls that you engage with, that changes the world, one peaceful person at a time.
I love it. I love it. Can you talk about a moment early on in your work that changed your definition of real transformation from this idea of, what I talk about is sort of prevention of this Cat 5 level hurricane burnout event that is sort of barreling at us, and we can forecast it based on certain converging forces. People can hear us talk about that in our previous episode from last summer. But when it's barreling at you, you can yell affirmation and mindset bullshit to this hurricane all day long, and it does not care.
Does not care.
And how did you change your perspective? Did you ever change your perspective of what actual real transformation is, where the byproduct is a different way of being versus, screaming affirmations and Post-it notes and yada, yada, that don't work when, shit gets real and it gets real, real quick.
Right. Now, affirmations are a powerful tool because it's such a great neurolinguistic way to reprogram our brain, as we were talking about earlier. So when I first wrote a book, it was hard for me to consider myself an author because at what point are you an author, Charlie? Is it when it's published? Is it when you start writing? Is it when you finish it? Is it when you find an editor and an agent? So I would have to practice it for it to feel real. And I would stand in a power pose, which is simply for me, Wonder Woman, hands on hips, feet under my hips so that I feel really grounded, really supported. And I think it's important that you see yourself telling yourself from your voice the words. So I would practice and it would feel very silly at first. I'm an author. I'm an author. Hi, I'm Joanna. I'm an author. Then I would practice. I'm a published author. Then I would start to get really bold and sassy with it. I am a best-selling international author. So the more we use those tools, those seemingly silly tools compiled together are very effective. However, there is a time and a place. You use those tools before you need it. You do the affirmation so you are rooted in confidence of who you are and how you're being in this world. It helps you as you go through life for when it's easy and when it's not. But if you are waiting until you are in the eye of the storm and you're like, I am a published author, nobody gives a shit when you're about to be blown away and your whole house is too. So that is not the moment. In those moments of real trauma, grief, tragedy, your job as a human or as for us as coaches is to hold space, to show up, to be there, to support what that other person is going through, their experience, and let them have it. After that, then you can meet them where they are and where they want to be and help them bridge that gap from where the two places are and how far apart they are. So it's not about looking for immediate change when the sky is actually falling. Hopefully, what helps you navigate the after of that is shorter, kinder, and a little gentler because of all the tools you had collected along the way. There are times where you don't even look for your tool belt because you're in the moment. That's, the moment you lose a best friend, someone you love dies, some crazy tragedy happens. That's not the time where I'm going to be like, where is my pocket deck of little travel affirmations?
Right.
I might need another tool. So when you start to gather a different assortment of very effective techniques to mind your mind or change your physiology, you'll have different ones as options to draw upon in different seasons and chapters of your life. There are times where everything's loving and amazing and you feel like you're on fire and life is magical. What tools do you need then? You don't know. They might be different than the other ones. It might be gratitude. So you know that you're fully present and enjoying this moment that you prayed for that's now your reality.
This is part of why I am so excited that we are going to be partnering this fall and actually pretty soon here at the end of the summer, because I do deal with a lot of heavy stuff, right? I'm like big questions and whatever. And then you bring this education, like lighter technique as appropriate, and then you can delve deep as needed. And I think that's part of what I see as a huge difference between the work that you do and a lot of the stuff that I see out there that really and I guess I'm just so protective of the people we're trying to help because I've been there. And if I didn't have real trained people who helped me change how I needed to change so that I could heal, recover, et cetera, et cetera, if I had just been told it was all my fault. And again, anything that we can take responsibility for, we can change.
Sure.
But we have to do that in our own hearts, right? We can't have people telling us that as if it's a blame game, especially when something bad has happened, or there's some sort of work abuse or whatever. And I'm just really excited because you're going to bring this brand new perspective of levity and joy. I mean, I have that too, but I think you compliment me in such a beautiful way, and you can help teach this stuff where it's okay, not everything is super heavy right now, but there are such brilliant tools that we can use preemptively so that we don't get to that, Cat 5 burnout event. And then there's also all this other stuff that you know how to do in different language. So we were talking about excitement, and I cannot tell you how excited I am for these partnerships because we are just enough different, I think, to become a pretty cool team. So that's really exciting.
I want to invite your people to do two things for us to make it fun as we begin. First, Tell us if you dig what we were talking about, the minister and the mentor as our working little collab title. And
Yes.
secondly, if you have topics or questions, we plan to have a real live aspect where we share real questions, challenges, issues, and talk through them from our different perspectives so that you get two different approaches and possible solutions or paths for what you're currently navigating.
Right. And that's coming soon. I want to real quick drop the link. We're going to have a place for you to sign up for Joanna's fall course that's starting, I believe, August 6th? Is that when the 12 weeks start?
August 6th. It's a Wednesday. They're 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So do your own time zone math. Never trust me with time zone math or really any math. But 8:30 p.m. Eastern, they're about an hour each week. If you have to miss a week, no worries. They are recorded, but the recording only lives for a week because you want to stay in the time of the course. And some weeks are more serious, heavier than others. And I always give a warning when they are. Others are very lighthearted and the action steps will seem silly, but be meaningful. Things like the example of the fine, okay, and good. Every course is different because of the amazing souls who gather and take it. But each time that I've led it, I've manifested something significant in my personal life alongside the participants because it's the culmination of my favorite workshops and trainings that I had taught and taken for over 2 decades, layered together in a certain order very intentionally, so that in the beginning it feels like light, easy, doable work. Then, whoa, we'll rip the Band-Aid off week. Then, okay, this seems easy. Okay, this makes sense. And then before you realize it, you're like, wow. I had somebody say, during COVID, this is the first week that I've gone without drinking and I wasn't even trying to stop. I just felt happy. So I wasn't looking for something to fill it. The impact, the real life things. My sister-in-law, right before we got on this, was sending me a testimonial that she sent because she's in my family. So she said, I said no to doing this forever. I felt like I already knew everything from being your sister. One day she wanted a house. So the night before the course was starting, she was like, F it, I'm in. I was like, you? Really? And so she just sent me a testimonial saying, admittedly, I came for the house and I closed on it within 6 months, but I got so much more than just the house. So whatever it is that you're looking to either shift, create, or maybe your life is amazing now, but you feel like your capacity to enjoy it could be expanded, to appreciate it, to lean in, to be present. So whatever it is that you're looking for, it is, I've never had somebody take the class and regret it. That is in all the years I've been teaching it, and I've enjoyed leading it every single time. So if your community and your listeners join in this August round, it'll be my absolute honor to see their transformations and witness them happening in their real lives in real time. You don't have to sit and talk about your problems when you were 3 with your mom for 7 years and hoping a small shift happens. Therapy is amazing. There are just many approaches to how you feel and taking back power over how you feel experiencing your life. And they don't have to be weight to be felt.
Yeah. And I know one definition about the difference between therapy and life coaching. Therapy is dealing with the things that have happened previously all through your life and the things that shape the struggles you have today. Coaching is going forward and planning for your future self. Those are the main differences. They are both, depending on if you have someone who's, got training and education, they are both very impactful and they can work together and in tandem. And I know Joe is just like me. We always reference and refer to clinical licensed therapists if we feel like somebody needs that level or we can work in tandem with them.
Absolutely. The third piece, because you talked about the past and the future, the mindset mastery, learning how to use your breath work, how to use your mind, how to calm it, how to quiet it, either through reading, journaling, prayer, meditation, how to change the brain waves so that you can access your peace, your lowered blood pressure, your slowed down heart rate, that you know that you are the driver of your physiology. That helps you be absolutely rooted in the present moment. So there are times where it's beneficial to look back and look forward so that you can really be here now. That's the ultimate goal, is to really enjoy the right now, because that's the only thing we're guaranteed to have. And it's the only thing that we're empowered to control. When I say we create our lives, we are creating our future. But where are we creating it? We're creating it in the now. It's with our thoughts and our energy and our actions now. So every single thing you said is just another confirmation of joy for what we're about to do together, because these are my favorite conversations. Let's just have them with more people all the time, everywhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, the present is what are the choices that we make today to set our life up for that sort of life of our dreams, abundant thinking, the giant goals that people might think we're just bananas to even try to reach for, but we have to think so big. There's so much out there if we can break out of these bubbles of thought.
And the same people who think your dreams sound big and crazy and weird are going to be the same people that congratulate you when they see them on a billboard. So
exactly. And
the believer, the one sole believer in your path to start. That's enough.
Well, I'm going to be sharing that amazing picture of you in Times Square in front of your billboard, because it is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. The transformation just in your life, how all of this manifestation, and again, fill in the blank if that word is too woo for you. Mm-hmm. Joanna has in the book 1 billion different options so that you can feel comfortable in the work. That's just her, that's her go-to word. Okay. And let's go back really quickly to pricing of your course, because this is coming up really quickly. And I know that spots are limited. So we're going to give a special pricing to those that sign up quickly, a kind of an early bird pricing. And for my listeners, you can go to charliehornesscoaching.com/Joanna. That's charliehornesscoaching.com/Joanna, Joann. And that's where you can sign up to get this special pricing. So Joe, talk to us about what they're going to get.
But wait, there's more. I feel like I need to be that right now.
No, this is so exciting. And I mean, you're doing some really cool stuff. You're offering some really, really reasonable pricing for absolute transformation in lives. So tell us what they're going to get.
Thank you. And remember, everyone has an option, because I have a free digital toolkit. If somebody's like, I have a budget of 0, but I want something, there's something for everyone. You can always buy from Amazon if you just want it in your hands. But if you really want the experience of the small group community with the live interaction, weekly coaching that I lead personally, it's never just someone on my team using my script. It's always me. It's 12 weeks, about an hour a week. And the official pricing, it retails for $19.99. I told Charlie, for everyone in her community, they can have the code where it's $1,500. Do sign up quickly if you're interested, because we start on August 6th. So a little more than a week away. But if you found this episode and you got to this point and you're considering it, then message me if you have questions or if you want to hop on a quick discovery call. Because once somebody says, I wonder if this is for me, you usually have that thought there because it's your time. So the next round officially starts Wednesday, August 6th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. It's on Zoom, about an hour a week. If you're feeling like this sounds cool, but listen to the tug more than the but. Once you get the tug, like, maybe I should take it. I wonder if ... When you start having those thoughts, you're mentally trying it on. If you're mentally trying it on, that's your tug. That's your sign. Take the course. Hurry up to sign up, because it does start August 6th. So it gives us a little more than a week to get started. As I said, it is my absolute honor to lead it every time. No 2 sessions are exactly the same, even though the content is the same. The last thing that I can share that I love, I did not expect that this would happen. After I taught this class the first time years ago, I went to teach it the second time, and at least half of the first group said they wanted to take it again. And I was like, guys, this isn't like 2.0. It's the same course. And they all said a version of one of 2 things. Either they didn't think it would really work. Now that they saw it worked, they want to do it again and go even bigger and manifest or create bigger outcomes in their lives. Or the second one was, They just feel so good now that they couldn't imagine going through their weeks without this weekly dose of community and connection.
Very cool.
No matter what, we recognize that. We appreciate our alumni. There are alumni in every round, and we give them special pricing that they could come back and take it forever as long as they need to.
Wonderful. I love that. Okay. So again, for my listeners, charliehornetscoaching.com/Joanna. I'm so thrilled to have you with us today.
I'd like to leave everyone today feeling happier than we found them. So if they're not happy yet, if they don't feel absolute joy right now, I would challenge them to do the following 3 things. 1, friend me on social media so I can be a part of this journey. I want to see your joy. Joanna.Rajendran. My name will be in the show notes, but nobody needs to know how to spell Rajendran. And the second thing, call your favorite person and stay on the phone until you have one good belly laugh. The third thing, put on your favorite song. If at the end of those 3, you don't feel an increase of immediate joy, rinse and repeat.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. And where can people find you?
I'm probably on Instagram the most out of the socials. That's the one, Joanna.Rajendran. I'm also on LinkedIn, Facebook as well, and then my website, JoannaRajendran.com. So that has my offerings, because the other thing that I'm careful how I talk about, because it's almost sold out, is my partner and I lead a retreat for women to Tuscany every October. There are, I think, 2 spaces left. If you need an immersive dose of connection and magic, that's pretty amazing. And you can see that on the Be Treat section of my website.
Awesome. And I'm happy to, on the landing page, link there as well, so that folks going to look at the course could also see the Be Treat if there's, those spots available. And I'm just so excited to see you and to have you here. And we will be announcing very soon a live masterclass, most likely Facebook Live, potentially YouTube Live as well. And we will have that out as soon as possible. But it's coming very soon, and I cannot wait to partner with Joanna. It's going to be a free masterclass. We're going to just be doing some free teaching for everybody. And it's open to everybody. There's no limit, and you just have to register. So we will have that link out as soon as possible. All right, Joe, what else? Anything else?
Love you. That's the thing.
I love you too. I'm so glad you are here with us today. And, I just want to reiterate the power of somebody that really cares about actual people and transformation and true mindset shifts that create incredible results for the future lives of the people that are struggling, who want and dream and wish for these changes and have yet to be able to create them. There are solutions. There are many different avenues, like Joe said, and one of the most powerful that I've ever seen is what Joanna teaches. So I'm so excited to have people learn from you and host you here and partner with you and tell people to take your course, because I know how amazing that's going to be. So, all right. Thank you for joining us today. Everybody say bye to Joanna and run over and sign up for her course. There's not many slots left. And if you missed it earlier, we're also offering you a very special subscriber surprise on Joanna's latest 12-week coaching course based on her brand new book, Best Life Ever. And this latest course just dropped and is open right now for enrollment. The first class begins August 6th, and spots are already limited. I'm not surprised to hear that. This is a course that is extremely popular. This course is often offered for at least $1,995. But if you're one of my listeners and you run over and sign up and grab a spot right away, you're going to get 12 weeks of live coaching with Joanna Rajendran for $1,500. That's not only a bananas price for this level of coaching, but that's a $500 savings on top of that to be coached in person once a week for 12 weeks by the incredible Joanna Rajendran. So just go to charliehornetscoaching.com/Joanna to grab that special subscriber pricing offer just for you. And remember, I would hurry up because it's a very limited time with very limited seating. So you won't see offers like this from Joanna again. That's charliehorniscoaching.com/Joanna. I hope you love Joanna as much as I do. And if you didn't catch last year's episode when Joanna came on and talked about her very first book, it is episode 6. She's one of my very first interviews, one of my longest friends, and somebody I trust explicitly with teaching you about what a real mindset coach is. So you can run back and check out episode 6 from last summer, one of my very first interviews. And it was an honor that she joined me. That's episode 6. And I will drop the link in the show notes below. So friend, I hope you really enjoyed hearing from Joanna again. If you hadn't met her last summer, we could have talked for hours and hours and hours. And sometimes we do. But listen, if you've been waiting for a sign that it's time to stop reacting to your life and start creating it, this is it. Not the curated kind, not the phony social media kind, not the hustle harder kind, not the work harder, stay up all night and get no results kind. I'm talking about the kind that invites you to check in for real, to tell the truth about what's not working and to build the tools to shift it with clarity, not cliche, not platitudes. Joanna's course isn't about pretending the storm doesn't exist. It's about showing up with a toolkit that works when the weather changes. If you're ready, the door is open. Just go to charliehorniscoaching.com/Joanna. And remember, you don't need to earn your way into a better life by suffering first. You just need to recognize the tug and stop talking yourself out of the timing. You're not behind. You're just on the edge of something real. And friend, I hope you will join us next week for our next episode. And this one is a bit of a surprise. It is our 5th archetype. Did you know there's a 5th one? We've got fight, flight, freeze, fawn, lion, deer, owl, and fox. But there's also the panther. The panther is our seeker. The panther is an archetype that can have all of the 4 archetypes, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, at any time. Sometimes when people take my quiz, they often don't want to answer any of the options, weren't really sure if they should answer all of them or more than one at a time. And that's okay, because there's a 5th archetype. You're the panther. So I'm super excited to unpack the panther archetype just for y'all. So I hope you will join us for the next episode. I'll see you next week.